Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Hydro Envision Podcast. So, we are here to explore the stories, sciences, innovations, and how to shape the future and how to sustain our water, how to manage it. Of course, what Hydro Envision Hub is all about, right? So we are here to make you understand better ways you could sustain your water, better ways you could manage the water for future purposes, and other, even as much as it has to involve the use of technological tools, innovation. It just to connect the dots in such a way that we ensure that water is safe, the best practices is being carried out, water is sustained and is being sustained for the future, for future purposes, and also for our heads as well. All right, so I'm your host for today's episode, and today I will be diving into a conversation that has to do with what you know or what you know partially, and our host for today will be throwing more insight on what is involved today. Okay, so I remain Victoria Ihenetu. So we'll be talking about the digital hydrologist, how data, technology, and geosciences meshed to build a more sustained water for everyone, more sustainable water for everyone. So how the digital hydrologist, so we already have one already in the house. Okay, so he'll be throwing more light on what we can do as a digital hydrologist. How can we make use of data, technology, geosciences to build a sustainable water for everyone. So joining me today is someone whose work truly embodies this intersection: a data analyst, a research geoscientist, and a passionate advocate for integrating digital technologies to solve real environmental problems. So join me as I welcome Mr. Somtochukwu Azi. Mr. Somtochukwu, it's a pleasure to have you today on board. You're very much welcome. So we want to know you. More about you, want to know your journey, your motivation. Just tell us a bit about yourself. So it's amazing, and I believe everyone listening to this will want to know who our speaker is and what he does and the amazing work he has done in the past that it seems not to understand or they seem not to know. So because every professional in this space have a story, that moment or experience that hits or leads the fire, of which we know that you have one. So you're welcome, Mr. Somto. Please tell us about yourself, your journey, your motivation, and what puts you forward. Just tell us about yourself, Random. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Vicky, for the kind introduction, and it's really a big pleasure joining Hydro Envision Hub on today's podcast session about data science, hydrogeology, and how they all apply to our lives, right? As geologists, how we can merge and marry the tools, how will I say the sweetness that comes with having this raw data that you can turn to an actual information, right? Something that can even help a state, help a government, help individuals, make informed decisions. So particularly, right, I am very excited to be on this podcast session. So let me once again thank Victoria for having me on board.
So our listeners want to know about your journey, just a bit about yourself, your motivation, so people get to know you and get to know what you're doing and what you've done in the past.
Okay. Personally, I am a geologist by profession, right? I studied at Enugu State University of Science and Technology, where I earned bachelor's degree in geology. and mining. And that was where it all started, right? So while I was undergoing this training, I was really got into studying geology, being a geologist, but I never had the let me say the privilege, right? I never had the privilege to think that, well, even as a geologist, you can solve an environmental problem. I was thinking that geology was all about studying about rocks and all that. And that is where it became really interesting, right? So in 2019, I worked on my project, and my supervisor, Dr. E, was the one that supervised me, and he really brought me into the part of environmental geology and hydrogeology, and that was where the spark all started. Having this passion to be able to make an impact in the society, and also having this passion for geology, right? It was like a sweet spot for me that I was like, oh wow, this is really what I was looking out for. And ever since then, I have been following it, with the impression that I have these tools that I have here, and with these tools that I have, they are really going to help me make that impact in the society, right? So that's all about me. I can say about the.
Thank you so much. That was really nice. Thank you for the bit introduction. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So we are moving straight to our questions, because we know we don't want to make this podcast as lengthy as we want to make it concise, brief, and then engaging, so that as many that will listen to it won't find it, will always have something to go back with. Okay, so you often describe yourself as someone passionate about using digital tools to solve environmental challenges. For many people listening, especially students, the term digital hydrogeology sounds both exciting and mysterious. Yeah. So sometimes I believe some persons will see it as an ambiguous word. So we want you to help us. So how would you define it? How would you define digital hydrologist? So what does it mean in today's world, or why does hydrology need data science more than ever? Yeah, could you please help us with that question, sir?
Okay. Sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you, please.
Okay. So, why we were in school, under hydrogeology class, we are taught courses like geostatistics, measuring piezometric layers, right? So this is me trying to be more technical, because I believe I am trying to meet what geoscience students are. So for this aspect, I would say that moment that we are all learning about geostatistics, going to the field, collecting samples, recording them with Excel sheets, you're already generating raw data. And you generating this raw data, there is a possibility that you would need to understand what your data is talking about, right? Because you're not just there to let me just monitor what this well is doing, and that is it. Take for instance that you had the opportunity to just come to a situation whereby you have a contaminated water, right? So what would you use to collect those data? Excel sheets. And these things are like digital tools that if you apply them, it will make your work easier and faster as a hydrogeologist using digital tools.
That was awesome. Honestly, you were more detailed. Starting from the fact that you had to go down to elementary, let me use the word elementary, I beg your pardon, our elementary courses in the university. We're going down to, I just remember that particular course, Jones Statistics, right? So it's more of like us connecting it, or you having a perfect definition of what a digital hydrology is. We were taught some statistical analysis, and then bringing them to Excel, bringing them to some analysis like tools like Power BI, Python, and then these are digital tools. Marrying them, as being a hydrogeologist, we had courses that we did. I think yes, we did courses that like hydrogeology, right? Yes, we did courses on hydrogeology. So when you mesh these two courses together, you find out that you are now a digital hydrogeologist per se. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate that. Thank you so much. So moving on to the next. I was just wondering, right? So, because we've known what it means, being a digital hydrologist. You've studied in the class, you've done your theory, and then you have to carry out practicals using some tools, right? Now, because this is where the magic happens. Okay, I don't know, some persons listening to this podcast might be undergraduate students who haven't carried out some practical analysis using Python, Excel, Power BI, Tableau, and the rest, right? I want to say, please help us, from satellite data to, when you talk about digital hydrology, we're talking about the use of data too as well. We did geostatistics. It has to involve data collection, sampling, and the rest. Okay, so now we know that there are different aspects where we get our data. In as much as you're a hydrologist, it's a hydrologist, definitely you go to do your physical surveys. You have, whether you use Schlumberger array, whatever kind of method you're using, definitely you're generating data from those investigations or from those surveys, right? Now, so and we also have satellite data. There's something we call machine learning, drones, GIS, remote sensing, technology, and definitely technology is reshaping how we monitor water. For people that don't know, because of me, I know, these imaginations looks real. For me, I don't know, for some persons who might not really, especially those who have not carried out this analysis, who have not even touched the laptop before, right? So it might be sounding weird and strange. Now, we monitor water through some of this. Thank God for GIS, thank God for remote sensing, thank God for satellite data. Now, what digital tools or data science techniques do you believe are truly transforming hydrology today? And can you share a real example where technology made a difference from the previous ideology we know, or the previous method that has been carried out? So I wanted to throw more light. I just want it to be as simple as possible, that our undergraduate students will not see it as a mystery, but they'll see it as a reality. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you so much. This part is where the techniques come in, where the tools and know-how come in, because collecting satellite data, when you talk about collecting data through remote sensing techniques, right? And for you to even get those data yourself, you need to be able to have the knowledge of basic understanding how to assess, right? And for you to do that, you need to be able access to this internet. So I'm trying to start from the scratch, because it's not all about sounding techy or sounding too technical for geologists. But even though there is something that they call reproducible, if you are trying to carry out an environmental data science research, you conducting that environmental data science research, you need to be able to have the necessary tools, laptop, internet access, and knowing how to browse the internet. You need to understand how Excel, understand what it means to have your data. Then away from Excel, you need to also know how to go further in automating the data set that you collected. There are some software like they have been designed such that you can use their graphical user interface, that's GUI, to be able to analyze data sets, right? And in hydrogeology, the data sets, or in geology per se, or geoscience per se, you can call the data set that you collect through remote sensing, geospatial data sets. So you collecting those geospatial data sets, there are techniques that you use to analyze geospatial data sets. Unlike when you collect raw data for health or raw data for economic analysis, right? So geospatial data sets, they come with longitude and latitude, that's coordinates. So you need to understand how to analyze the data set that comes in geospatial form, right? So you need to know tools like Google Earth Engine, Python, right? So Python is the most popular language that hydrogeologists, environmental geologists generally. So all these tools, it has been developed over time, and understanding the pain points that geologists face on the field. Innovators, right, computer scientists, physicists, they've gone ahead to develop tools, technical tools that we can use to collect those data and analyze those data sets, right? So at this point now, you see that there is a conjunction, there is an agreement whereby a computer scientist is not just, solving equations or building tools that we.
Can you hear me? So you just like we were discussing, with Mr. Santo.
Yes, I can hear you.
So you just continue from where
Okay. So right, like I was talking about the data sets that you collect using remote sensing and how you can analyze them, how data science have helped in collecting those data sets and analyzing them, right? So with the help of technologies such as drone, with the help of technologies such as satellite imaging, right? With the help of technologies such as Google Earth Engine, that's software, we can be able to collect geospatial, and collecting those geospatial data sets, even when it comes to hydrogeology, it also applies, right? Such as vegetation cover and the places that you have and how the lakes are all connected. So all these data sets, you analyze them using Python, right? Also, you can also analyze them using ArcGIS. And these tools, we are tools that has been built by statisticians, tools like R, right? Tools like Python, it has been built by computer scientists, right? So you see that data science as a whole have already impacted, the work of hydrogeologists. It has made the work of the hydrogeologist skyrocket, right? The output, the results, and the impact of the hydrogeologist is more felt because of those data science tools and data science techniques.
Thank you so much. While you were discussing, I was just visualizing the whole stuff. Honestly, it's amazing how technology has helped to reduce the stress, right? It has helped bring in more imaginations into reality. Probably before now, these tools weren't existing, or they were existing, but quite a number of us really don't know how to use them. And we kept on doing manual stuff that would consume time and cost more labor. Now imagine you working with Python. You've gotten your data from, let's say, from remote sensing work or satellite images, and then you convert them through the air. You convert them through the aid of some I'm trying to use some softwares, making it look more real. I remember one time I was discussing with someone, and then he brought something that sparked my interest. That was some imagery data, satellite data, and then he said something. He said, "Vicky, we could convert this. We could get, of course, we know that Python has to do with or zeros and ones. Data set has to be CSV, stuff like that." He was saying something like, okay, there's a way we are going to convert this imagery data into CSV files. From there, we can now do awesome things with it. And I was like, that's good, right? So technology has come to reduce stress, all those manual works. I remember that time, probably before now, we're making use of this. Imagine you working with cardboard paper that has to do with how will I put it, topographic images, and then you are interpreting this data, and then you are doing a whole lot of, I don't know if actually what I'm saying is making, like, you're trying to understand what I'm saying, right? So to cut the long story, so you said something.
I said yes, I understand.
Okay. To cut the long story short, technology has come to reduce the stress. Data science has amazing features that I don't think we have engrossed it in the whole of it. I don't know. For me, I'm still getting to see new things that haven't been discovered, right? So I remember one work I was doing for someone. It has to do with the use of geopandas, and it was so amazing with Python. Already it's a model in Python. How would I call it? Yes. So it's something that there's a lot of features. I remember one time I saw someone, bringing out some software, geological software, and I was like, what? Can we all consume all those features, right? So I encourage everyone listening. Probably you're a professor who has been in this field for over some decades, or yes, and then it's looking like, how can I do this? This is for young minds. You can actually do it if you want to, right? So let's embrace the fact that technology has come to stay, and it's going to reduce stress, reduce the bulky work for us. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Somtochukwu. That was amazing, right? So you really cleared some clouds. Let me put it that way. So moving further, we want to talk about bridging data to decision making. And let's be honest, okay, data is powerful, but only when it leads to action. You might have data, you don't know what to use it for. Data can be revolving around you, but you don't know what to use it for, right? So we want to try to bridge. How do you make decisions with this data you've gotten? Okay, data can be in many forms. Data can be in an imagery form. It can be in numbers like CSV. So whichever way. So let me remind our listeners that when we talk about data, don't limit yourself to CSV, Excel. Data can be in imagery. It can be in so many formats. Okay. So So how do we ensure, Mr. Somto, now I'm throwing this question to you, how do we ensure that the insights we generate actually influence policy making? We've gotten this data. Like we said, data is powerful, but only when it leads to action. Only when you're using it to make decisions. Now, how do we ensure that the insights, the results we've gotten or generated actually influence policymakers, water managers, and even communities? Okay, how does that bridge between analysis and impacts? We've gotten the analysis. How does it make sense or influence decision making when it comes to hydrogeology, when it comes to water management, when it comes to water quality, when it comes to water availability? No, I don't know. Can you throw more light on this aspect? How do we bridge this gap? How do we inform the people? How do we influence policymakers with the results we've gotten from our analysis?
Wow, Vicky, that's a very interesting one, right? Because let me say that I've been in one or two occasions. I've been able to see how these data sets really apply in making decisions. Okay, so take for instance, in my undergraduate, during my undergraduate, I was opportune to conduct a thorough geological and conduct geochemical analysis of the water data set that I collected from Isuawa in Enugu State, and it was really amazing how I kept on engulfing myself into it, because I saw the data and I'm like, how do I make this thing look real? I started looking for solutions, looking for people to interpret my data sets, right? So it all starts with data interpretation. Tools like Excel. When it comes to water analysis, tools like geochemical workbench, right? Visual Mintech, tools like ArcGIS. You can use ArcGIS to visualize your geospatial data sets. And you visualizing this data, you are not just doing something. You are trying to paint a scenario. You are trying to tell a story about what is actually going on in the data sets. What's all these numbers that I've written out all in table form? What do they represent, right? And in that context, you start looking out for unique softwares, unique tools that applies to various types of data sets. Because trust me, there are types of data sets like Vicky pointed out. You have images, you have text, you have voice, right? You have them in various forms, and as you have them in various forms, that is how you have them. You have the various tools that you need to handle them. Right, so the insights that the policymakers are looking out for are your visualizations. How you visualize these numbers. When you visualize these numbers, if you are plotting a contamination map, you use emotional colors like red to represent that this place is dangerous, right? And you use blue to show this area is fit to drill, right? And I will also encourage you guys to go out there, show your work, put your work online, go to conferences, present your paper, publish them. Like I pointed out in reproducible data science, right? So you doing reproducible for technical experts, you are telling them how you got your data sets, how you got your codes, how you wrote them, what your codes did, and how you finally got to your visualizations and your inferences. So if you are saying that if a layman or the society or the government, they don't care about your jargons, what they care about is what is really happening here, what is really going on. So as a geologist, as a hydrogeologist, understand that data science is a very, very important skill for you to have, because in that instance you'll be able to understand, you'll be able to analyze what is actually going on, you'll be able to say, okay, here is high pH or here is low pH. The iron number here is higher than the iron number in the other location is lower. As you're doing this, you're already analyzing numbers, you're analyzing pattern, you are looking out for outliers, you're looking out for unusual things that's happening in your data set that will give you clue. Okay, so you doing those things is where your technicality comes in. Then when you present it in a format that the government people will understand it. Prepare a document, prepare a report. We were all taught about project defense. Visit government offices, visit your ward councillor. Tell them this is what I got from the borehole results I just measured. And I mean, this borehole looks contaminated. Can you do something about it? The guy, if you know, listen to you, but he will really see it as an opportunity to push his next campaign. And him go fast, source for fun. They will just see how they will treat that borehole or they will drill another borehole. But before the guy can even listen to you and believe you, you need to present your data. You need to even be presentable, right? Look professional and go out there and meet them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Somto. That was amazing, honestly. And how you were able to connect the dots was super amazing. Like I said, the listeners, trying to bridge data and then decision making has to do with visualization from your results. How best did you visualize that result? And then from there you cannot inform them about your results. Like you said, where areas where you have contaminations, you can easily present that with red, and areas that are saved, you can easily present it with blue, telling them that okay, see, they have contaminated water in this area. Actually, because while you were discussing, I was picturing a work I did with ArcGIS. There's a work I worked on, and the data I was able to do an overlap mapping. Yes, and then it was on water quality, trying to know the quality of the water, pH, which one is badly affected, not just the pH. There were random parameters too that I used, and honestly, it was super amazing work. I have not brought that work to life. It's still dormant in my laptop here, but I'm very good at doing research. One thing with me is if something just comes to my head, I just want to see it. By the time I just try, it makes sense. Okay. So anytime that that needs arise, I'll still go back to it and then. But seriously, we need to harness, like you said, as a geologist, you need to harness these tools like Python, GIS, and other tools as well. But I'm just throwing one, like you said, even R, even Tableau, even Power BI. By the time too, I was thinking about something. I was thinking about automation. I was like, we can do some automated dashboard, as a geologist, see, I don't know how creative we are, but one thing with me is that I can be sleeping and boom, this thing just comes to my head and I'm like, oh, let me go and try my system, right? So there's some things you can do, like you said, don't keep it to yourself, push it out there, present it, tell the world, inform them. I know it, but I'm telling you, someone is going to pick from that your knowledge, and you never can tell how it can help solve problem in our society. So thank you so much, Mr. Somto. So we are moving close to the end of today's podcast, but before we go, we'd like to ask, we don't want to talk about, we'll be talking about most advantages of digital tools and corrects. So no field is without challenges, actually. Especially when it combines science, technology, and policy systems. So what barriers do you see in the adoption of digital hydrology in developing regions? As a data scientist, I understand this fact that there are barriers. There are barriers towards either getting data. I don't know. I want you to say something. I don't want to. I want you to say something. Now, so what are those barriers you feel that has caused hindrances towards the adoption of digital technology? If I remember something, it's the fact that my final year project, I was doing something on machine learning. And boom, all of a sudden, I just heard from my supervisor, Victoria, you have to remove the machine learning from from that aspect of your work, because the supervisor that is coming, it's an old man. I don't want to use old man, sorry. It's not a tech inclined person. Let me use the word tech inclined person. So he might not understand the jargons. I said, God. But I want to solve a problem with this tool. So you see, that has limited us. I can't tell the trauma I had to undergo because of that news that came out at that time. Remove it and leave. But I keep asking myself, then how do we grow? How do we move from this archaic part of geosciences to a technology aspect as the world is moving and the towards? Of course, you agree with me that it's a global village and the world is trending towards AI, towards digital tools. If we remain in that myopic aspect of only map interpretation using our pencil and carbon paper, we would grow. Yes, some schools has labs, and permit me to put this on a general context of African universities, where we have labs, but few of us go to the lab. Few people make use of these tools. We might have systems, but is it technology inclined towards or tilting towards geoscience, solving geoscience problem? So now, how do we solve this barrier? What opportunity do we present to these young professionals entering the space? People that enter into the space, how can we know what knowledge you want to give to them? Thank you.
Wow. Honestly, your questions are highly engaging. I can't just, well, let me start out by saying that we need to let me even start by saying, first of all, it's energy availability, because they just carry by lights like this. So that's number one, yeah, number one barrier.
Yes.
So the energy barrier is really a serious one, because trust me, when I took part in switch energy competition, I understood what it means to experience energy poverty. Like, I understood that poverty can come in different dimensions, and it's really opened my mind how Nigeria is how far we are yet to go, right? Because if we are going to take ourselves serious, now I'm coming directly to societal aspects. Okay, if we are coming directly taking ourselves serious in this nation, we need to solve energy problems, and solving those energy problems, it stabilizes a whole lot of things. I mean, these digital tools, they run on energy, electricity. So how can you power digital economy without enough energy? You need to, first of all, solve the energy poverty issue. Make sure that the rural regions have energy, like different dimensions, solar, wind. We can harness these natural resources. The reason why I'm hitting on this is because digital technology, digital tools, they are powered by energy resources. And if we by certainty help ourselves to improve our energy, the way we manage our energy, the way we use our energy, electricity, we'll be able to have this digital tool lodged into the rural regions. Imagine having a digital hub in somewhere in the rural area where you have your IoT sensors mounted in their rivers, and you are somewhere in the urban city collecting those sensors. Without energy, how would those sensors run? Right? So even for you to even make a change, right, you need to be able to show these guys that they also belong. Because the barrier that we are seeing here is that we need people to know the truth now, that they can participate in this digital revolution. Okay, just like when I went on a research at Ezambo, Ebonyi State, I discovered that some areas they are really, really handicapped when it comes to environmental quality. Okay, and I was privileged enough. I met with a youth corps member, Fejiro, who worked on helping the area to bring in solar installation. And you see how from that solar now, they are able to handle some of the issues that they have. They can charge their phones, they can take parts, network can even come. There are some areas that if you go there, you don't see network. Why? Because they don't have transformers. Why? Because nobody just care, right? Or they don't just have good roads. So why would MTN come and set their masts there? So those people that are in that region, and they are now cut off totally from understanding how digital technology can impact their lives, because they don't care about having laptops or having Android phones. Because how would I power my phone, right? So that's other barrier in the society. Now coming to the technical, right, the academia and all that, the industries, they need to come in, because this is what I believe that institutions, universities are research institutions whereby innovations are better, right? So even some companies, right, in the Western world, some companies have some of their branches in university institutions, because that is where research is embedded. So we need to revamp, we need to really define how digital literacy applies to our higher institutions, right? So we need to be able to find a meeting point where the industry will help the academia and the academia will help the industry. There should be funding coming from the industries directly to the academia. It shouldn't only fund petroleum courses. They should also go for technical courses, computer science. They should also go for economic geology, hydrogeology. They should also fund research in various aspects. So as you are funding those research, you are making sure that you are applying the research outputs in those various industries, right? Because as you are researching on hydrogeological issues, you will see a company that will crop up to solve that issue. Thereby, that company cropping up to solve that issue is already creating a solution to employ people. They will employ more engineers. They will employ more geologists. They would innovate more technologies that they will now use and solve those problems. So that is how we can overcome this barrier. So that's let me stop here for now.
Honestly, thank you so much, Ms. Santo. That was amazing. That was amazing. So to our dear listeners, I believe you have been taking notes of how you can bridge the whole thing. But to crown it all is don't just sit back, fold your hands, saying I have these limitations, I can't move. The truth is that if you don't think outside the box to solve the problem, there will not be any innovation, there will not be any change. So move out, think, see how you can provide solutions. The truth is that solution, by the time you're waiting for government here, government there, honestly speaking, I will tell you, you will sit for years and nothing will be done. But start with the little you can, okay? Start with the little, like he said. Yes, he gave so many examples. So as we are believing and trusting God that one day there will be an intervention of the government, or funds from outside the country, outside where we are, our jurisdictions, so that they can provide solutions to this problem. But you have to show them what you are doing. Yeah, you have to start somewhere. Okay, so don't just sit, fold your head, and be waiting for the bigger opportunity. Start with the little one you have, and with that, I believe we're able to want to become a better place for us. I also want to throw more light on a particular issue that has to do with data sets, availability of data sets as a data scientist. The truth is that it's a general problem. Yes, so
exactly.
yeah, it's a general problem. So if there's a better practices whereby we can think, how can we mitigate this problem? How can we solve this problem? It's a homework for each and every one of us to go and do, to go and think, how do we solve this problem? Because it's a big challenge to us as data scientists. I'm telling you, if you know how much people pay for data sets, not even though you have the money, even to see the data set gone is another challenge, right? So it's a whole lot, and I should trust that one day somebody will just come with that big idea that would come like a big band theorem and just pack bombs and solve the problem. Imaginations will not would be. All right, so moving forward, thank you so much. I truly appreciate. Okay, so we just want to before you leave, sir, what can you help us? You've painted so many pictures, giving many clarity, all of which we really encourage, we really appreciate. So, in your final word, what message do you have, or do you want to leave with our listeners, especially the students, the early career scientists, and the dreamers who wants to make an impact?
Okay, so my message to everyone out there is explore, be open-minded, and always look for a way where digital technology applies to whatever you are doing. Are you a scientist? Are you a business expert? Are you a parent? Are you a student? Right? There is a sweet spot where digital technology meets your need, and I am assuring you that if you try to explore this in the right way, okay, ethically, it will really, really enhance the results output that you get. So that's it.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. It was amazing. And it's amazing having you on today's podcast. Thank you so much. It has been an insightful conversation. Thank you for sharing your experience, your knowledge, and your passion for a sustainable water future. So to our listeners, if today's discussion inspired you, moved you, opened your mind to new possibilities, don't forget to follow Hydro Envision Hub Podcast on our Spotify and on our YouTube. Until next time, let's keep envisioning a future where science, technology, and purpose unite to protect our water and our world. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Vicky.
Thank you
Have
so
a
much.
great night.